What's going on, Geminites? It's your girl Phie, and I am here to do a review today on the Golden Age Captain America Omnibus. Stay tuned. Hey guys, so I just finished reading this book, which I am so surprised that I didn't hate. But before we get started, please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and if you find that you like this video, please hit like at the bottom, but when you leave. Okay, so I was up here in Steve's office, I was sitting on the couch while he was here doing his thing, and for whatever reason, I was thinking about the Golden Age Captain America book, and I was like, I wonder how silly the way that it's written is. Like, I just started reading it. I was just thinking that it would just sound really silly. I would get sick of it really quickly and just put it away. I just wanted to crack it open, and I got really into it. I was ready to read the story and get through the entire book. I couldn't wait to finish it. If I had to describe, because I've never read a Golden Age book. This is my first time. I'm new to reading comics, so I kind of felt like I wanted to try to go back to the beginning and like get like the base stories for the characters. And my recollection of the Captain America storyline is anything from the MCU, like the way that they describe how his origin story and all that. I was surprised that it wasn't verbatim out of this book. Like, I thought it was going to be exactly the same. Like, I thought they were going to, they did show a little bit, but of him becoming Captain America with like the serum and all that, but maybe it's later on in the story. But he is Captain America and he hasn't been gone for a while. Like, he's not doing like the USO thing going around, and he's an actual soldier. Like, him and Bucky are actual soldiers that have to be present for taps in the morning and in the evening, and like they have chores and stuff that they have to do. They run and they march and all that. Like, that's not his only, like, it's not even his job doing that USO stuff. It doesn't even happen until later on in the book. It's almost like a Superman type thing. Like, people don't know that he's Captain America. Like, his own sergeant doesn't know. He just has to sneak off, him and Bucky change their clothes, and then they like go and do this thing. Like, he's keeping his identity secret. Like, they don't know who he is. How in the heck does Bucky keep up? Because Bucky's not like any kind of special, like, he's a mascot. And I'm like, how is this little boy keeping up with Captain America, jumping onto moving submarines and headbutting whole groups of villains and with it's just crazy, like, how this little kid keeps up with Captain America. And Captain America is not like how in the movies he's like this goody two shoes that like doesn't curse. He has no problem with if a villain that he's chasing like were to trip and fall and get run over by a steamroller, he'd be like, well, he got his fate, and then just go back. He's like, he doesn't give a shit. He's like, whatever, my job's done, I'm out of here. And him and Bucky are always, the story starts as like, there's a parade in town, we're bound to find some trouble there, let's go hang out and wait around for criminals. It's like, he's looking for trouble. Like, he's not trying to like stop the trouble for a second. He's like, no, I'm ready to kick skulls in today. Like, yo, Bucky, he's so much more badass in the story than in the MCU. They make him so like, all right, chill out. That's enough. So there's like no real overarching story through the whole thing. Like, reading this kind of makes me feel like it's like a cartoon show. Like, each episode is sort of an independent story, which is cool. Like, I did go into it with the understanding like these stories were for children of a certain time. So reading it, it's not as dated as you would think. Yes, you do feel like some of the topic and subject matter is a little bit dated. Like, we don't really talk that way anymore. But there were times where I'm reading it and I forgot that I was reading a book that was originally written in the 40s. Like, don't be apprehensive about picking up a Golden Age book. For me personally, I definitely thought it was going to be like the whole time talking about Yancey, all that crazy jargon and shit. But it wasn't. I mean, there were times, I don't know what it's supposed to mean, but Captain America will like burst through a group of villains, or like through a wall or through a window or like boards or something, and he just screams gangway like all the time. Like, every story he's doing this, and it's like, I don't like what, I wish I could go back to that time and ask somebody like, what does this mean? Like, why are you screaming this while you're busting through things? It's like very, very strange. Each story sort of had like its own villain. There was a couple of times, because I guess Red Skull is like one of Captain America's like main villains, and he's only in a few stories. Like, he's the most overarching thing in the whole thing. And the sergeant like does not like Steve Rogers and Bucky, like he's always giving them like punishments because they're missing this, or oh, you decided to stay out all night, you're gonna be peeling potatoes all day. Like, I don't get it. Like, he literally cannot stand Steve Rogers, but he loves Captain America. Like, again, what's that whole dynamic? Who has that relationship where they don't like the person in Spider-Man?
Flash Thompson.
Yes, like he doesn't like Spider-Man, but loves doesn't like Peter Parker, loves Spider-Man. There was a recurring character in the story also that I know the name, but I don't know the story because I haven't read this particular character's backstory yet. I've just started with this, but Betty Ross is like a recurring character in this story, which I was like, wait a second, that's not the agent's name in the movie that has a love interest with Captain America. So it's interesting because you could tell there's tension between those two characters, and she also has a father who's a general. So I'm guessing that's like along the lines of Hulk. I was asking Jem about it, and he's like, well, maybe it's like they're testing the character or something for the Hulk. I don't know. But Betty Ross is one of the top 5 main characters in this story. She's in it pretty frequently. When I started reading this, I was, in my mind, I was like, well, these stories were written during the Second World War, where they're trying to, like, create a lot of patriotism. Like, there's ads in all of them, which I went online to try and find it, where you send 10 cents into Timely Comics, which I didn't realize that's what Marvel was called prior to, was Timely Comics. But these ads for these little Sentinels of Liberty, I guess it's like a children's group of just, trying to get kids to be do-gooders and be upright citizens and all that. And I tried to find, these things are expensive. People still have these. Are made of real metal, like these the little badges, which Steve just put in a picture here. I thought that was interesting, like trying to get kids to like be patriotic and to, I feel like it was like, if your parents are engaging in like what these bad guys are doing in this book, like, let us know, kids. Every villain is a spy in this book. It's like all espionage and like people pretending. It's like, as a child, that must have been so confused. Like, who do I believe? Everybody's a goddamn spy. Like, you can't trust anyone. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but it's funny, like when they have the characters have like really like, I want to say deep accents, and they just spell it that way, like sweetly. There's a lot of that going on. Like, I'm reading, I'm like, is this a word? Is this a word? Oh, they're trying to spell it like how they're saying it, which was funny. Nowhere in this book. Okay, I want to talk about his shield right now. So in this book, the shield, you can tell, is going through like phases. So the only time that it is not a circle is issue 1. It's shaped like an actual shield, like an actual shield. Only issue 1. After that, they don't even address it. They just change it to a circle and keep it moving. He doesn't even start like throwing it around. He doesn't even throw his shield until like issue 9, and doesn't even return to him yet. I've been noticing that from issue 1 to 8, he only uses his shield for blocking and screaming gangway through brick walls like a psychopath. He only starts throwing it after issue 9, and it hasn't returned yet. Because I remember hearing somewhere on the internet somewhere that they give these different weird explanations on why his shield can return to him. I can't wait to read the next one so I can finally see when it starts returning. I don't know. I felt like that was because in every movie he's throwing this thing like it's a boomerang and a frisbee had a baby. It's all the time. Now, we've all in the last few months or in last year gone to a local comic shop and bought a single issue floppy. These issues are not the same way. They have like chapters in them. Like there are like at least 3 or 4 Captain America stories, and then also in there's also 2 to 3 other stories. So there's like 6 to 7 chapters in each of these floppies. It's only 12 issues, this book, but I would really lean more towards at least like 36. There's so many stories in here. Now I did not read the non-related stories. Like they've got this one in here, Hurricane, and then Tusk, which is set in prehistoric time, which I'm not interested in that. And Headline Hunter. Yeah, I didn't read any of those. The Captain America stories were good. I liked watching the character development of Bucky and Cap. They are very close. Another thing that I liked about the books is just sort of watching the stories become more complicated. Like I compared it to a TV show. It's more like a cartoon TV show. It is like, it's very much like Scooby-Doo, because a lot of mask pulling off, like, oh, it was Old Man Rivers. And then I found myself being like, oh, let me see if I can guess who it is by the end. And there was a lot of instances where I was wrong. Or I was like, oh, I thought that's who it was going to be. It was not that person. So I've been flipping through it, just trying to jog my memory and talking about the story. But let's do the overhead view so that way you guys can like sort of look through it with me while I'm fanning through it. All right, so here is the front of the dust jacket. And let's see here. We got the back, all of the issues. Again, look, it's only one more. He's got the shield like that. And then here we go for the spine. We got Joe Simon, Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, and Al Avison here. The cover is all the way black all the way around. And then the inside has this like glittery, marbleized look on the front and back. There it is. This is a different guy than what's in the movie. It's a different guy. So you got, and they only touch on him becoming who he is right here. This is it. Boom. Done. For the rest of the story, he's just who he is. That's it. This is what I want. I want one of these. Oh, wait, hold on. These are not the stories. So, I mean, it looks the way you would expect it to. Nothing strange there. Very simple drawing and colorizing and all that. Not a ton of depth. Just get the story across to these kids. They need something to do. There's not a ton of, like, wartime stuff. It's a lot of, like, they're in the city. This is a different story. So here's the Red Skull. And this is one of the parts that I'm talking about. So, like, he gets this huge drill going through the city, and Captain Bucky just jumped right onto it. No prob. You know, he's just a regular kid. He can keep up with a super soldier. No problem. And everything's 10 cents, I swear to God. They always make all the villains super ugly. All of them are always hideous. Every story is the black this, or the black curse, the black witch, the black castle. Look at the dragon of death, the black death. Look at, like, that's how he's hidden. Nobody knows who you are, fellow, in the baseball jacket. Look at this guy, looks just like Batman. Look at him. Ugly. So ugly. Oh, we gotta find one where he screams gangway. And it's like, I think of the Kool-Aid Man every time. Every time I'm like, maybe it's, oh yeah. Oh, and like by the second issue, they've got Captain America dressing up as a woman. Cap in the movies, I don't think you'd ever see him do such a thing. They use meanwhile at least twice on every page. Meanwhile, 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 meanwhile. This one, he has a lot more words with it. Gangway, boys, don't stop us. He says it so much. That one's not even a good example. Hold on. I don't understand why they make these covers so crazy like this, because sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with the story. It doesn't, like, line up. This was a good one. This was a good story. Yeah, boom. This one. It's like, look, they burst through and they move fast everywhere. As soon as they start moving, they're just everywhere, moving as quickly as they can, no matter what. Like, they just calm down. No, it's just immediate, more action right away. Just start bounding and jumping and kicking and twisting and shooting and just all over the place. It's just like children. They just run everywhere. There's no chill. Look he's painting and then blasts the sergeant in the face with a green paint, and they dip. They're out. They're like, oh, whoops, gosh, Sarge, yo, you're a liar. You got him like that on purpose. All right, guys. So that was volume 1 of the Golden Age Captain America Omnibus. I would actually recommend that you read it. It is really not that difficult. I read it in less than 2 weeks. It's very readable. It is sort of for a younger audience, but I feel like it gives you a really fun aspect of Captain America. I would definitely recommend to read this. So again, if you felt like you enjoyed watching me do this review, please give a like below so Steve doesn't remove this from the channel, because he can't. I'm just kidding. But thanks for watching. Again, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified. We do live shows every Sunday, which I really enjoy interacting with everyone. So please do subscribe so you can know when we go live and come and hang out and ask questions and all that. And I guess that's it. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later. Peace.